What's going
on? What's going on? Shit.
Nothing, man. How's your week? How was your day? Tell me all about it.
My week was good. I can't front. My week was good. It wasn't. Nothing bad happened. Everything was positive. Working on my project. Yeah, that's really it. I spent some time with my daughter on Tuesday. So yeah, that was really it. You know.
I'm glad you had a good week. I said I'm glad you had a good week because I always like to start off the podcast by asking people about how their day, how their week went, just to kind of start things off, set the tone of the podcast. So it sounds like you've been very busy and leaving space and time, to chill.
Yeah, you see the to-do list in the back.
Word, I do see it in the back. That's amazing.
See the to-do.
I gotta give me one. I have to give you a whiteboard in the back so I can have my to-do.
Nah, it took a long time though. It took a long time.
Yeah. But we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about discipline in a minute. I'm so glad that you're here. I love social media for the fact that you can meet people like online and then like eventually kind of have like conversations with them and get to know them. I think when I posted up that Twitter post, it was mainly to like attract underground or rising artists, just because I feel like there aren't enough spaces to have like genuine, positive, good conversations with rising artists. And so it was just dope to be on Twitter and then have people recommend folks, and you were recommended to me and then you pulled up, and so just the backstory of it all just seems like it's amazing to me.
Like you're definitely right, because it's not a lot of publications or people that's like pushing like the ground level of us. Like it's always when we sign on the dotted, like when we sign on the dotted line, or when we do something that's viral, or propaganda based, like, you know what I'm saying? So like once it gets to that, then that's when that's when your streams go, your YouTube and all those things go up, but it's good for the money and good for the exposure, but it's just like for the like about time, like, so but we're just eliminating all that. Like we just keep building from we keep building from what we're doing. So that's it.
Yeah, I think you're so right, and I think that's why like I started this platform, because I feel like when y'all do get to that point, you've already established a level of value to your own brand, to your, if you have a label, or just to yourself in general. And so I think it's great to catch, the rising artists before they have all of that. Just like I said earlier, just creating genuine spaces, I think, is important. So we'll start off with the interview. The first segment is Journey to Music. So tell me who you are. Like, tell me where you're from, just the beginnings. Like, who is Pyro Lucain?
Originally, Pyro Lucain is from Albany, New York, but I moved from Albany, New York to New Haven, Connecticut when I was 13, going on 14. But I would go back and forth, family and things of that nature and stuff like that. So that's originally where I'm from. Like, I'm originally from Albany, New York, but I left in my start of my teenage years. So, but at the same time, like it was like that fine split. So it definitely helped a lot. So.
Okay. So you're originally from Albany, but you moved to Connecticut.
Oh yeah.
So are you still on the East Coast now? Yeah. You sound. I can hear your tone.
East Coast all the way.
I'm like, I initially knew. I'm like, he's from the East Coast. His vibe is giving East Coast. Like, so that makes sense. Fun fact: my mom almost got a job offer at Albany, New York, like years back. So I almost was a resident of Albany, New York.
All roads leads back.
Word.
So, but yeah, it's a lot of great things and a lot of great people that's coming from there and that came from there. Like just like just like here at CT, like it's a lot of people in the industry that's active right now. That's like what I mean.
Yeah.
So there's
That's so true.
it's there's a lot of things that people don't like to speak on because it's not a big market. Like I'm from places where they're not big markets, so I definitely understand the struggle now more than I did before because I'm like, wait, we da da da, but it's more so of a business thing and a lot of things that happened before me and that actually killed a lot of chances of recognition. So it's almost like both places are playing catch up. So when we was already here,
Word.
so
Right. Right. And that's so true because I do know a ton of like people have put me on to artists, rising artists or underground artists that are from Connecticut. But when you first hear Connecticut, you're like
yeah,
you don't think of rap.
How do you think I felt in 2005? Like how the fuck do you think I felt? Like what? Like Yale, UConn? Yeah, it's shit going down there. Like all right, bet we gonna see. But when I got here, it was totally different. So, you know what I mean? So New Haven, you know what I'm saying? This is definitely my second home for real. So, so I definitely know about all like the struggles and from being from areas where there's either forgotten about or nobody cares about. Like, so.
Wow, that's so prolific. That's so prolific. So let's take it back again. So how did you get into hip hop? You can even like a lot of people I speak to, like for rising artists or just artists in general, they're like, it didn't even start with hip hop for me. It started with another genre. Like maybe they were listening to your parents' old soul records, and so because I know you also produce. So how did you get into music / hip hop? Did it start with hip hop?
Always hip hop for me.
About that.
It was always hip hop for me.
Okay.
Like, so I'm gonna give you the fast story. Well, not so fast, but so my uncles were in the music business, and they they had a label, and they actually started their label around the time of like the Rockefellers and the Cash Moneys and the Rough Riders and stuff like that. Because like in Albany, there was people rapping, but there was crews, but there was no movements. So my uncle was the first one to was to have people from different sides of town who didn't get along with each other to be like to be a part of this thing, like what I'm saying, so when I would see them in the studio, like this is when I was like young, like 7, 8, like what I'm saying. So I'm in the studio around this time, but a lot of things we had to get away from. But at the same time, like just seeing the whole process of making an album in my face, like literally being that young and seeing like somebody making a beat and they're actually like recording to tape. There's no computer yet. Like you know what I'm saying? So this is right at the age where studios start getting computers. So it's like, so I'm seeing all the analog, I'm seeing like how the real stuff is being made. So, and then a couple years after that, my cousins form a rap group. My older cousins form a rap group. So it was a 5-man rap group. So yeah, and there was like they ranged from 13 to 16. So and this was all first cousins. We were all first cousins, like on my mom's side. So you know what I'm saying, so they're actually coming up through like the kid phase, through like the Bow Wows and the Romeos. Like they was doing that, like, but they had way more edge, way more iller. Like it was way more street sense. They was they was cussing in their raps. Like it was different. Like you know what I'm saying. So but the first time that I knew that I really fell in love in hip hop, like it was really 2 phases. I fell in, like, what really got me into it obviously was my cousins, but also like my dad had taken me to my first ever concert, which was the Rough Riders and Cash Money tour.
Ooh, that's a fire
at 8. At 8, my mother was my mom was pissed.
That's amazing.
She was pissed. Cause my mom's is from Queens, South Jamaica.
Okay. Get
So
the
she
money.
grew up through, like, you know what I'm saying, like, like she seen the start of hip hop, like, she, you know what I'm saying, like, she was around a young LL, like, she was around, like, Run DMC, she was around
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Blow, like, she was around all the pillars of hip hop as they're rising, like, they're just regular people
Right.
to them, but to the world there's like, oh my god, but they're just regular people. So yeah, from the neighborhood.
From
So
the
it's like,
neighborhood.
so by me having that, or by just being my mom, like, just being entrenched in the music, because my mom loved to dance as well. She actually played the piano, and she African danced. So
Wow.
so she did a lot. So me come along, and then hip hop is this thing, and then my family's into it, and then so now I'm exposed to it now. So now, bring it back to my older cousins. I when I first wanted to get into hip hop, when I first seen them performing at the mall, and when they had like people, like when they had, this is when you could perform at the mall. Like, we had a stage set up and all that, and they would be religiously, like, the mall will book them to come perform. Like, yeah, like, yeah, it was real
Wow.
early. So I'm seeing, so if they're like 13 to 16, I'm 10, 11. I'm seeing all of this on TV. Like, so I'm seeing like rap stuff on TV, but I'm like, hey, my cousins and them is doing kind of like the same thing. They're not famous yet, but they're local famous though. State to state famous. Yeah.
Which is important. Which is important.
So with that, so I'm looking at that, and when I first seen them in the mall, when they get done performing, they get chased around the mall, and I'm getting chased with them because I'm with them. So, and when like so we
Right.
so so we had to leave and all that, and then once I seen what that first taste of what music is really like, that was when I was like, yeah, this, I don't know what I'm gonna do in it, but this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, something, managing something, like, I gotta be involved with it. Like I gotta be involved.
Wow. That's such an incredible story because, well, first of all, it's a privilege because like not a lot of people get to have that early. Like, I've interviewed artists in the past, and their introduction to music, like I said, is like their parents. So for you, your parents were a part of it as well. Also, you have cousins that are in the industry, uncles that have their own thing going, and so that's really like a really dope experience to have as a young person growing up. And I can only imagine being super influential,
and also being
so really,
being
really
a little cousin,
story.
and people knowing your family, and then like you going to school with the merch on, and like, oh my god, I've been trying to get, but these, like, yo, these are my cousins. Oh my god, those your cousins. Da, 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 da. So I had that early too, like people being in shock of me, just who I'm associated with, and who I'm related to, and it made me look like something. Like, oh man, like, so it was a whole different type of respect for me from the jump. Like, so it's like, okay, so now I just at that point as a young kid, I had to figure out how can I play my part, and not only in what's going on in front of me, but in this culture called hip hop. Like, how can I play a part? Because not only when I'm with my cousins, now we're gonna swing it back to my house between my mother and my father. My mother and my father didn't share music collections. They had their own. Like, my mother was the mixtape queen, my dad was the album king. Like, so, ain't on top of that, also too, I had a big brother going through high school in the 90s. So I'm hearing, so I had no choice. I feel like I had no choice. I feel like I had no choice. I was just doing other things just to spare my time. But this is what I was really supposed to be doing from Jump Street. But sports was really my first love, like, football and basketball, like basketball and football, like those were my. But I didn't even want to even get into college sports. I knew that it was all business. It's gonna take the fun out of it. So music. So I knew from 17 years old. I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, that was it. But even when I was 10, like, I knew. So
Tills, that's good. Tills just said history, and that's so true. That's what I'm about to say. Like, you're really a part of a tradition for real, and that's so prolific and profound because you have a history of music in your family and you're able to cultivate that and create something of your own. It reminds me because I'm from Southeast Louisiana, so I'm from the New Orleans area, and so it reminds me being like you mentioned. It's so funny that you mentioned Cash Money Records earlier because for a long time, them boys was neighborhood local. Like they was famous in the city.
Nah,
like,
do you know who
for
was
a wild,
really my
time.
peoples though? No
And, like,
Limit.
all,
that was really what they did. The Tank.
Oh yeah.
Like they came with the Tank in the movies. Bout it. Like I was like, nah, like you know what I mean? Like Mr. Ice Cream Man. I'm like, nah, I don't care about like I don't care if nobody don't really like it, but I understand it. Like I understood it.
Yeah.
Like
you understand
I understood it.
It's like that tradition. It's a part of that. They were part of a tradition, and they were local famous. Like before people started saying like now you see like hot girl, like Meg Thee Stallion saying hot girl, like the people in our
that was a thing.
Been saying hot boy, been saying hot girl. That was like the thing. They was making records. Like this is on record, like of them saying this in like the fucking 90s. And so it's like it's just so funny. So I identify with what you're saying a lot too, because it was like that in New Orleans for real. So yeah. My next question is: do you remember when you first started writing raps?
And it's crazy because producing came first. No, rapping came first, and then production. Then I stuck. Okay. Then I stuck with production. And then I rebooted my artist career last year.
Okay, tell me about rapping first. Like, tell me when you first started.
So when I was young, like being around my cousins, you know, being in a rap group and stuff like that. So you know. They had, you know, brothers and sisters, which is also my cousins as well, and we're all the same age. Mm-hmm. Like all born in the same year. Like one may be born 90. I'm born 91, mm-hmm. So it's like we're all in the same mm-hmm. age. I was the last out of that batch of cousins. Mm-hmm. I was the last one born. So feel me. So mm-hmm. It was like we will all try to mimic what what they was doing. To be down because they got their thing, but we gotta have our thing too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like so with mm-hmm. me seeing them and me also just I would say studying hip hop at that point, like, you know, so like by me, like, you know, like knowing a lot of lyrics and things like that, like me like reciting lyrics and me movements and things. I was like, well, like, so let me just try. So it was probably like around like 10, 11 when I started or whatever. But what I used to do was I used to take like every rapper did this in the beginning, but they used to take like I used to take my favorite bars from like let's say from like a Nas song, and I would like flip it around. I would like either use the same words or I would like flip it around or whatever. It's like, you know, and stuff like that. And rest in peace to my cousin Milk. I remember one time I called looking for his little brother, right? And he knew that I was writing raps, and he was like, "Yo, spit something right now." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Yo, if you don't spit nothing right now, but you're not talking to Dills. You're not talking. I'm gonna just hang up the phone. You're not talking to him. I don't care if it's whack. Like, nah. Like, I did it." And he was like, needs work, but here you go. Here you go. So boom. So it was really just then from that. And when I and you know, just growing up playing basketball, stuff like that, that music took to the back. And then when I moved to Connecticut, I met up with my bro Hugh, and me and him went to the same high school, and me and him was on the football team together. And, you know, he had like a little studio set up in his basement. So, and I had a little setup in my room where I was at the time. So me and him bonded not only on some regular sports, just high school freshman shit, but on music. So me and him built a bond instantly. So we was over each other's houses like every weekend. So this is like between the years of like 14 to 16. And this is when I was rapping for real though. This is when I was rapping for real. He was making beats and rapping. Like, mind you, I was already seasoned to the Kanye's on people producing and rapping. So I'm like, man, like, and I seen him make a beat one night. I was like, yo, bro, how you make beats? Mind you, I got cousins, like uncles that make beats, like all of that. He was like, hey, bro, I can't really teach you how to make beats. It's a feeling. So I'm 15, I'm 16, 15, 16, and normally that would be like, huh? Or nowadays you'd be like, I'm about to go on YouTube. I'm not asking no one. It wasn't no YouTube. Like, it wasn't no type beats. It wasn't none of that. So it was like, if you didn't know anybody who had equipment, you was just asked out, basically. Or you just begged your parents to get you some form of equipment and you just rocked out. So I was like, word. I was like, all right. So that whole night, that day, rap went to the back. I was still rapping a little bit, but that's when my real production swing came in. Like, cause I was already teetering with it already. Like, I was already messing with it always. But that's when I really was like, you know what? I'll probably be better at this. Like, and then I just kept it going.
Okay.
And every now and again I would write stuff, but yeah.
Right. That's so dope. And it's so interesting too. So what we have now is that you started with a family who is in the tradition of music. So you got into it. You had no other choice to be in the tradition of music. So you start rapping with your cousins. So you're rapping into your teenage years. You move to Connecticut and you're still doing the rap thing. And then, you know, you get involved with producing. I think it's interesting that you mentioned Kanye because I feel like Kanye, like, influenced so many young folks who were interested in music, particularly. Yeah.
Because before then, we didn't see a lot of that. We didn't see a lot of that before then. But go ahead,
Yeah, no, I was gonna echo the same exact thing. Like, I think he really set the tone to like manage both. I think what I'm about to talk about is being like a rapper and a producer together, starting off as a producer and then getting into rap and then believing in yourself enough to be able to manage both. So it's interesting that you do that because I had that thought earlier today when I was researching you. I was like, oh, he produces and he raps. And the first person that always comes to mind to me in those situations is Kanye because he's so influential in that. So it's interesting to hear you say that. So from what I gathered, you produce, so now you're in producing. So we're going to talk about producing a little more. Then we'll get back into once we transition back because you said you rebooted your career. So we'll get into your producing. So from what I gathered, you produce a lot of your own work. So you started producing. So how did you transition? Like, what was your discipline in learning how to produce? And like, what did you start with? How did you get into it? Was there a moment where you were like, I'm kind of fire at this now?
Honestly, like, to keep it, okay. All right. So like I said, from my bro Hugh's basement, right? So mind you, that night, I didn't go to sleep. I was making bullshit beats that whole night, just trying to get the structure down. Cause off of just what I watched him do. Cause mind you, he would be producing a lot of the music that we was going off of at the time. He would come up with the concepts and I would just piggyback off of him because I was just creative like that at the time. Not to say super, but I knew what I like for that time, like I knew what to do. Like I always had ideas, like good ones. So it's like sometimes I wouldn't be in the best position to really display them. But when it was just us, like when it came to certain songs and stuff like that, like he would always come with concepts and I'll piggyback. But that night, I stopped writing and I was just like, nah, I'm actually making beats because now I'm starting to think of Kanye. Now I'm starting to think of Just Blaze. Now I'm starting to think of like Pharrell. Now I'm starting to think of Timbaland, Dr. Dre. Like now I'm starting to think like, okay, these guys rap too, but they produce better than they rap. Okay. And also, one of the people, not to cut it off, one of the people that could attest to this beginning of the journey is someone that just pulled up named I Be Real With Me right here, my nigga Juan. He was definitely in the basement with us. Like definitely on the track. Nah, for real, like for real. Like he can attest to that. From day one. He's matter of fact, one of the first people when I started going to school here, he was my first friend. My first he was my bro from day one. Like, you know what I'm saying? I definitely like, but I also meet a lot of bros too. Like, but I start thinking about them. Like, he says hola. This.
Hola.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He's Puerto Rican. I forgot. He's Puerto Rican.
Okay.
But so now basically I'm just starting thinking of them, and then now I want to mimic them now, like to like like to basically find my style. I basically would make beats like them. Like I would try to make beats like them. Like mind you, this is before the type beat era to where you could look up how to sample and stuff like that. Like my bro had to teach me how to do that. Like, and on top of that, another person that we was working with by the name of Chris Jones as well. He definitely helped me. He definitely helped me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he definitely helped me sample too. Like a lot. Like he definitely helped me in the beginning. So, but I was just mimicking what I heard. So that's all we could do until we found our style. So I would just keep at it. And I had a little setup at my house too. So I had FL Studio on my computer when it was the demo version. And I couldn't even put together a whole beat. I had to take clips of the beat and bring it into another program and put the beat together like that. Like so it was real. So like I would just perfect my craft on that and just get better. And then to eventually I started to find myself, but still mimicking others as well. So when we get deeper into high school, whatever, and then I formulate a team now. This is where everything this is where the story really starts to roll. Like this is where the music, this is where my name, this is where all our names start to build up. So mind you, I'm still actually running with Hugh. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's my bro. You know what I'm saying? We still working on music, got a whole project. We at like all that. So one of my bros that I had met coming into high school, Bugatti 203, like junior year, he actually approached me about, because he had heard me doing the music with Hugh. He was like, yo, I heard you doing the music. I want to get into music too, da da da. I'm like, bro, you rap? Mind you, me and him been kicking this since 8th grade, playing basketball together. Like, you rap, bro? He was like, yeah, da da da. I'm like, all right, come to the crib. Mind you, my crib has always been the open door policy. Like always, like my parents was, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace to my dad. Like, you know what I'm saying, my mom's and my dad, like they definitely always made sure like it was always good. Like I always got to give thanks to that, because if I ain't have that type of like relationship or that type of like leeway, I don't think not really a lot of this would be possible. Can't front. So mind you, and then also another one of my peoples that I meet along the way in high school does music by the name of GQ the Prince. I meet him freshman year. Yeah. So that's my bro. Now you gotta go check into his stuff, because there was one year we dropped 5 projects in 1 year. 2017 to 2018. There's 5 projects. So I meet him freshman year. I actually meet him because he actually is in a rap battle. He washes the dude. So mind you, I already know this is all speeding up to junior year. Mind you, I already knew G already rapping, because me and him lived down the street from each other. So he will always come to my crib and he like, so me and him just started working on the music. So when I actually moved across the street from from his godmother, then that's when me and Gotti really started getting it on. That's when really we started to distribute our own music. This is when MySpace was popping. So we was putting our music on MySpace. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and then after that, we like, yo, we need another person. So we added, so now it's also more to the story, but I'm just trying to speed it up. But GQ comes in the fold, and now we have this group called Flight Team. So where it's 2 rappers and a producer. Mind you, GQ and Bugatti didn't like each other. So, and also to spin it back to the story, see how my uncle got people that didn't like each other for all one common cause, and now we all bros now. So, so now we're on this run just doing music. So now I'm the in-house producer. We cooking, we putting out projects, we doing stuff like that. So, like, it was a lot of things that really helped my career to where it's at now. Like I'm trying not to skip stuff or skip people, but there's a lot of things and people that play a vital part. Yeah. So into what's going on. So into where I'm at now. So, but yeah, it just really started with just me and the bros just cooking our music. Really.
Mm-hmm. That's dope, and I think you do a good job of mentioning all the people, because it seems like there was a lot of people that were influential and a part of the experience, and I always love to hear those stories. I know a couple guys that have known each other since they were young, and so they've been in this for so long together, and it's always great to see people build connections and keep those connections throughout, because the industry is hard. You know, the struggle towards the industry, even before you get into the industry, is hard. So to have, people there from the beginning that support you can be productive and work together is just so amazing. And I've seen it with other guys that I know that do music. And so now I know about you and your crew and your friends and people, who have come together to make great fucking music for real. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. So I know about I know how you've gotten into the producing. Great story. So now you're a producer, now you're making music, you're working with artists. So when did you start creating projects and working with artists? Like at what point in your career did you start
alongside of the crew thing? Working with other artists started relatively early around kind of like the same time when the crew stuff happened. Like not too long after, and I definitely gotta pay a tribute to that to a mentor of mine, OB, like, cause around the time when I stopped going to school, stopped going to college, my mom wasn't too fond of that at all. So he would definitely help me, sell my beats and help me get with other artists and stuff like that from who he knows and from around the way and stuff like that, people in the industry and things of that nature. So I would be in sessions, fly on the walls, stuff like that. So I put out my first instrumental project around in 2011, 2012. Yeah. Like Welcome to the Firehouse Part 1. Yeah. And then I put Part 2 not too long after that, probably like a year or two after that, probably. And then I just been going on from there. So I want to say I have like 20 projects and counting that's out in the how many years span? Like 12-year span. Yeah.
Jeez, you was working.
And it all started from that point. Like I've been doing whole projects since the beginning of my career. So this is like that's kind of all I know, so to speak, in a way. Like just doing shit, just like how when Ye says you're like, yo, like what you know about being locked in, like what do you say? What you know about being locked away in a room for 3 summers, like that was me. Like making,
But I love those stories though, because for one, they're inspirational, right? Like I'm one of those people that believe like when you want something or when you have an interest into something, you should put your all into that. Like, obviously take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, but I do believe in hard work, and I do believe in when you have an interest, specifically when you have a talent, right? And I think that talents can be cultivated and can be amplified over time, right? And so I love to see people put in the work, and it seems like you most certainly have over the 12-year span. I wanted to mention this. You said one of the projects that you produced earlier, I think you said 2011 was like Firehouse.
It was see, yeah, somebody right here. She was like, I remember where it all started. Cross days, see.
I remember
So another person that, yeah.
The reason why I wanted
so it's another person right there, but yeah, it was welcome to the Firehouse Volume 1. That was my first instrumental project.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned that is because I've noticed in or at least your albums that are on streaming platforms. I was an
I do. Yeah.
Because
Firehouse Music Group.
Yeah. Firehouse, right? Yeah. Music group, and that's so, to me, I love that, because I myself in this career, like, one of the first things I tell them is you have to make this a business. Like, early on, you have to make it a business, because eventually it will become a business. And so you have to start it early so that when you buy equipment, you can count that towards your taxes and all that other stuff. Like, it has to be a business, because you have to operate that way, because at the end of the day, making music, being an artist is a business. And when you take care of that on the front end, you don't have to worry about it later. And so for you to have a label and I tell artists all the time too, to be publishing their music under, if they create a label, be publishing it, because you're adding value to yourself. So with you've published all these works that I've seen, especially like lately, especially under Firehouse Music Group. And so now if anybody ever approaches you, you have years and lists of, like, I've been publishing this works under Firehouse Group, and we have value, already established a business. I've already added value to it. So I just wanted to salute you for that, because
even with that wasn't it wasn't that. It took time to formulate that mindset. Also, I gotta pay tribute that to my mentor OB, because he'll be on all of us. Like, you know what I'm saying? He has, like, he has a label, you know what I'm saying? He has multiple things going on and stuff like that. He would really say to me and GQ, like, yo, nah, like, this is how you really do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, he definitely got us set up with our publishing back in 20 and shit like that. People are just now talking about, like, you know what I'm saying? He definitely got us set up back then. So, like you said, taking care of the front is, you don't got to worry. All you got to do is keep updating it. You just got to keep tracking it. You just got to keep updating your catalog. Like, now that you're, like, being that you're independent, you got to log things in yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he was definitely on that early. It definitely took some years for me to put my foot down and do it, but definitely drilling the knowledge, he was definitely for that. For sure. Like, for sure.
Word. Okay, so we're going to fast forward again. So now you've produced a ton, you've worked with artists. You mentioned earlier you had a reboot in your career.
To be honest with you, to make it short and sweet, I just got bored of the actual production game on how things get placed. Like, I was tired of the other people deciding if I'm dope or not to be on the album. Then I started to figure out, like, oh, it's business. Even I knew it was always business, but even down to picking the beats at that level, could this fit into the agenda that we're pushing with this project? Yeah, it's hella dope, but we can't. Oh, where'd it come from? It didn't come from Metro. It didn't come from. So, oh, damn. So that'll be us helping him out. Nah, like, I got. Like, so, like, even though, like, I've worked with Dave East and things like that, like, I worked with artists in the game and things of that nature, but as far as, like, getting major album credits, like, that will always be, like, a slight, because I don't have a name, or I'm not up under the under boss, like, being corny and selling myself short. Nah, for real, this is what happens. Like, this is exactly what happens. If you're not building it on your own, niggas will treat you like a peon. This is real shit. This is for everybody who's watching. If you're not building on your own, they'll treat you like a peon. Like, I know how they be talking. Like that's why I'm building my own. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just got tired. I just got tired of having other people decide whether my shit is dope or not. Then I got beats sitting there for potential, but nah, got tired of that.
And prolific, building on your own because people treat you
And they're
like a
not gonna
peon.
give
And
you nothing
I think
either.
that's
They're
so
not gonna give you if you're not building up. They're not gonna give you nothing. They just gonna keep dangling that joint in front of you until they feel like you done built. And unless you coming in there with years worth of work in and you got portfolios and stuff, then the talk is different. It's like, oh yeah, so what do you need? Yeah, what do you need? Versus, oh yeah, you're just another one. Yeah, get your numbers up. Da da da. All the same stuff that you would tell somebody. They spinning these kids the same lingo. Spinning.
Because it's a business at the end of the day, right? And so those executives, whether they're small executives or big executives, because you got smaller labels too that are signing artists.
Exactly.
The same energy is right. You got to have value added to you because our business needs to survive, and we need to have people that are. So I think it's important that you're putting out that message because it's so true for especially younger artists or people who are getting into the game, to be cognizant of that and to focus in on adding value to your own brand, to your own business, and then when it comes time for people to approach you, either you can choose, I'm gonna just continue to do this by myself, which is a lot of folks do that and stay within unsigned or independent artists. You find that a lot more popular these days. Or you can decide to sign with a major, whatever the case may be. You'll have value added. And another point I wanted to add is that I think you learn more too. I think like the build up to the success, both triumphs and challenges, you just learn so much more and you're able to navigate if you decide to go with the majors or if you decide to sign with a lower company as well, you can navigate the space more efficiently, as for what I've seen. And so I think you just learn so much more with anything, whether you're in music or indie industry, when you're getting it out of the mud and you're sort of doing it yourself. So that's really dope. So we're going to fast forward a little bit more and get into talking about your past releases. So more your current stuff. So like within the last couple of years or so. So we'll start with Pyroglyphics, right? Like hieroglyphics.
Once again,
so how'd you come up with the name?
I'm in the studio making beats, whatever, and my mentor, whatever, big bro, he was like, yo, at some point in time, you got to do a project called Pyroglyphics. And I was like, all right, that's dope. And I just went back to making beats. I'm not thinking nothing of it. This is like a year and a half prior. Like a year and a half prior before I decide to start writing again. This is a year and a half prior. So now, right? We actually speed it up. So now I'm actually coming out of Move Without Warning, going into the process of Pyroglyphics. Between that time, a lot of things happened for me, like a shift, like just within myself as a person, just like, just everything, everything, my world was shifting. So it was what I was going through and what I was writing, it was more so my own language to what it is that I'm seeing. So, hieroglyphics is the Egyptian language on how we, how they connected, so hieroglyphics is my own language off of what I was going through within that point, from Move Without Warning, within a 3-month span, because if you check the dates, Move Without Warning comes out May 14th, 2022. Pyroglyphics comes out August 26th, 2022. So within that time span, a lot of things happen. So so I had a lot to talk about within me going through that. So it was just my own language of what I was going through. And for the ones who could connect with it, this is for you. The ones that can't connect with it, that's fine. Maybe you're not going through this. Maybe this is not. Maybe what I'm speaking to you it really isn't for you. So, and around that time, I had gained a lot. like just more so, just more about the world, just about like about the knowledge of what I was getting into, like just, and you know what I mean, and then like, you know, my bro, you know what I'm saying, my bro E comes to me within that time, and then he definitely gets on the team and say, yo bro, like I know what you doing, like I'm gonna help you, and and that was it. We've been, you know what I'm saying, right here. Why? Yep. Why Shut Entertainment? Yep. Bro E. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I was, so mind you, I was coming out of the move without warning, figuring, just grabbing everything together, and he comes, and then I'm going through that, going through a lot of stuff, and then I put together this project, just giving it my all. Like that's why you could probably hear on the track, old niggas, like I'm mad, like I'm pissed, like I'm mad because there's really old niggas hating on me, like for real, like that's real shit that's really going on, like niggas like, oh, like that's like damn near my brother age, like my brother age, like 40 something, like you know what I mean, but that's a whole nother, we not even letting that come over here, but that was the mind frame I was in, like shutting down every fucking thing that anybody had to say about me rapping again. This project was gonna be like the first stamp of what the fuck was going on right now.
And it's so funny that you say that, because in my notes where I've written about the album, like sort of my synopsis, and I talk about the content specifically, I said the content seems self-reflective, critiques on society and behaviors. Society can be encompassing of the people, the haters that you was just talking about, right? Introspective, right? And so that's what I wrote. But there was also music on there that was varied, right, in sound, and they had fun joints on there too. Yes, definitely keep pushing. But those were my notes. So it's I love when it's like my own idea when I get it. I listen to the album and I get it, because it very much felt a lot like that. Like you mentioned, old niggas. That one, for real, I was like, oh yeah, he's critiquing on societies and behaviors and how people move.
Society is my canvas, like society is my canvas, like people always want to look at the riches and all that. Like you can only talk so much because you're not there. Like what you think is rich to them is minute and poor. So it's like, and I know that, but at the same time, I'm over here with it. I'm on the ground level speaking to my people. So it's like, so I can't be talking all that. I could, but it won't serve me nothing. Like me talking to my people as me going through regular society. Like, you know, I have a daughter, she's 6, she's about to be 7. That's my world. Like Jackson, like she on my neck. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, you know what I mean? So it's like I go through the regular things with, like, you know, like females and like other like things that of like, you know, of like, you know, of our society goes through on the other side without going to jail, dealing with drugs and guns, like regular society things. That's me. So it's like I'm talking about it just in a way where it's understandable, where it's like, oh man, like I just went through that yesterday. Wow. Like it's so like I'm speaking on real topics. Like it may not have happened to me, could have happened to you. Like I'm close to you and I'm writing, you look like, oh my, he just wrote about me, like, you know what I'm saying, like without you even knowing. So it's like I use like my surroundings as, like, you know, as my source material. And
it's so interesting that you say that, because sometimes it does feel like a dichotomy, right? Like it's either folks are talking about like the riches and being rich and fucking bitches, or they're talking about selling drugs, and violence, and not saying that's not real life, right? Because but people who, where are the people that meet in the middle, right? Exactly. And so for you to be that, there's a gap. There's definitely a gap open for that, and I think you're closing it, and I think you're serving as that voice right now.
It's like not everyone scams, not everyone sells dope, not everyone does anything illegal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's people that may want to do things illegal, but it's like, but they always got that thing like, all right, like I'm not really doing that. That doesn't really, I'll be the one to get caught. like, yeah, doing some shit that you're not supposed to do. Like, you be the one to get caught. Like, you be the one to get caught. So it's like, all right. So it's like, I don't want to talk about that because once you start talking about that, those things will follow you and people will test you. If you put in out, people gonna test you regardless. But if you putting out something that's gonna help people, even in the spirit of being on no woke uplifting, it's like, yo, this is me talking to you. This like if you calling me like, yo, P, I got a problem, da, 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 like as I'm talking, I'm rapping as I'm talking. That's how personal. That's how I try to meet that to where it's like, yeah, you may see me with some fly stuff on, but I could sit down with you and have a conversation with you the whole day. Like,
word.
And,
Okay, so
no, you good. No, that was it. That was it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's really what I got out of it. Super like self-reflective, like critiques on society and behaviors. It was introspective. The joints that I loved on there was you had a feature.
Yeah,
think about it.
100 Grand Voice, my bro. Yeah. Nah, yo, that's a fan favorite. Like, yeah, yo, so and that was the last song recorded and mixed. That was the very last song. That was the very last song.
I like the way it, and I don't know the way it sounds.
Sample,
like,
yeah.
it just feels
I remember when I made that beat. Yeah, I remember when I was just right here, just like, all right. And it's crazy because I didn't have all the songs with hieroglyphics, so that was the newest beat up there. That's the newest. All the other beats are probably like a year and a half, 2 years prior that I just had. Like just sitting. That I just had just sitting. So, and think about it, was the last track to be made, written and recorded, mixed. Like the whole thing was mixed in. The whole thing was besides Sacrifice. Sacrifice was mixed and mastered by my mentor OB. He the one who mixed and mastered, but everything else was me. So so think about it. Yeah, think about it was definitely it was a story. Think about it as a story. Like, yeah, it's a story behind it. Think about it.
Yeah, and I thought you and 100 Gram Voice are super complimentary, and I thought that it was one of those, like, one of those records that you just listen to and it's like, oh, this is like perfect. Like it's just one of those ones where it's like
that
the whole album
in particular, we definitely gonna spin the block and do a video for that. Like that project is still relatively new. Yeah, it's relatively new. Yeah, August 26th. That's late. Right? That was a late project. Like so.
Word. Definitely block on that. But yeah, that was my favorite from the album. I really, really enjoyed that one. I want to talk about Icon too, because it has such an interesting structure. So, if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, you did.
That's my first compilation album. Like, I produced that whole album with I produced the whole album. Once again, OB mixed and mastered the album too. Like, he's the engineer too, like for sure. So yeah, I made all the beats. I got the rappers and stuff up there, like, and yeah, that was.
Yeah. In my notes, like, I have jam packed. Like, it has a lot of features on
for sure.
There.
Pause. I'm sorry I had to cut you off, but shouts out to Smooth, the fucking source. Shout out to Smooth because she actually worked the album with me. She definitely helped me throw she actually put together the party that we have for it. Like, she was sending the records out to DJs and execs that she knew, like, you know what I mean, like getting my name lit, getting my name in the fold. Like, I definitely big shout out to Smooth the Source. Like, if y'all looking for any type of anything that's involving, like, even though what you do and stuff, y'all in the same field, anyone who's in the live, hook up with either you or Smooth the Source. For real.
Yeah, I'm a huge. I actually know Smooth, like, through the internet. she's dope, and it's so funny that you bring her up because she's definitely a name that you need to bring up. She was just talking about like being like women in the space and sort of like navigating. So it's just so important because I feel like we keep things like moving and stuff. So definitely Smooth is the one. Dope.
But yeah, back to Icon.
But back to Icon. No, yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned her, but yeah, that was a great.
I produced all. I made all the beats, like all the beats from 1 to 12. I pretty much, I didn't record everyone. I recorded Debo. I recorded I was at the session for Visions. I was at the session for Signs because Ritz actually records herself. She mixes and masters herself. That song was mixed and mastered by her as well. What else? What other joint? And Air Maxes. Those the four songs that I was there for the sessions for. Oh, in my projects, I recorded GQ's verse. So I did so I definitely have some engineer work on that too. But that was the beginning of what I'm doing now. That was like the start of what it is that I'm doing now. Like you know, Icon is definitely my baby. Is my first ever album. Like my first ever album.
Yeah, because it was definitely giving collaborative vibes. Like I know nowadays what's popular with producers is connecting with an artist, and then making like whole albums. Like obviously the producer is producing and then the artist, but they're creating a cohesive project together where you have one producer that's working all the beats, and then they come out with this wonderful creative piece of art. And I think with you, it's just interesting because you have varying of artists on there, both rappers and singers. So it just really, the whole album as a whole is just super dynamic in terms of sound. There's variation, and like I said, in terms of rappers and singers, there's variations. So it's just, it was really, really dope project to listen to. And I have favorites off of there. Like Champion is a favorite of mine.
Yeah, that was like
real
the single.
Caribbean vibes.
Yeah, that was
Champion
the single. Yep.
On the radio.
That I work. Shout out to SNS for that because he's the one who got the K Goddess feature for me, and this is when K Goddess was really was on the right here about the block. Like you know what I'm saying? Like even though it's a funny story that I got freaking cussed out by her. For putting out this, that's a whole nother story, but we ended up working it out. We cool now. It was just a misunderstanding, you know, music shit. But anyway, but yeah, shout out to the bro SNS. He definitely got that feature done, and we was definitely able to market it. You know what I'm saying, like that. We still gonna shoot. Mind you, that album is only a year and a half old. Yeah. Yeah,
that was 2021.
It's a year and a half old, so it's not even. So, like I said, I have music to go back to shoot visuals for, so it's I'm racing myself. So it's that's how I feel because you may have more notoriety in me, but you're definitely not outworking me.
Word. I feel that so much. Like I said, Champion was like one of those ones.
Oh yeah, it could still be on the radio. It could still be on the radio for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. It's a radio.
It's
a radio song for sure.
I'm actually about to rework that record too.
Yes. It was giving me like summertime like vibes. Like Champion was just dope as fuck to me. I like Chess a lot too. I thought Chess had a modern.
Shout out to my sis Kaylee Roselle. It was her birthday yesterday too. Happy birthday, sis. Even though I told her happy birthday, but happy birthday, sis. Love you.
Same with Signs. I thought that one was good too. Dope.
Shout out to Poppy Ocho, Ritz, Poppy Ocho. Mind you, these all people that I grew up through the music with and growing up, just living in New Haven, living in Connecticut, all those it's all like a collective. It's like this. It's like if you were a ball player, you know all the ill ball players. It's one of them type of things. It's like if you know, it's like it's levels to this underground thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like not to say that no one could be knocked off. It's not nothing like that, at least to me, because I'm comfortable in what I'm doing. So maybe to somebody else, maybe like that, but not to me. But it's just a whole pot of people just coming up and making dope shit. Like it's a whole bunch of dope shit.
Yeah.
No, you go.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Visions was another favorite of mine too. It had that like underground soul feel that I thought was really, really dope. And it also had a female singer on it too. So it's just a lot of like dynamic, dope variation in sound. And I was like, this album is incredible. And it's all produced by you. And so you're the credit for the sound,
for
the variations, plus the artist feature on it that add their own voices and their own, if you're a rapper, your verse and everything like that. So I thought that, I think you should do more with that. Keep revisiting both of those albums, Hieroglyphics as well, but definitely keep revisiting Icon and stuff like that, because there's so many good ones on there, and keep pushing for that work to get recognized and to get out there. And it is, I know it is, because it's great music. And then I also saw recently you released a song called Vital Signs.
It's only produced by me, but it's with my guy Rock Lauren from out of East Hartford, Connecticut. So my guy Rock Lauren. Yeah,
I like the way
he came through. He came through the crib and smoked it. Like he came through, smoked it.
Yeah,
like he burnt it. Like you know what I'm saying. So I'm actually about to ramp up the promo for that. I'm definitely gonna talk to you about that off camera. But I'm definitely we're both of us are. It's just a lot of things been happening within a amount of time. But that's good though, because I've been checking the streams, and it's streams been like going on its own with no real promo on either side. So I'm like, oh, okay, I like what's going on. People actually checking for what I got going on, and plus the people who I'm working with too. So and also it gains the people like who like on like it gains people from their side too. To you know what I mean. So it's more so like a cross. It's like a cross promo, really. Like you know what I'm saying. So Vital Signs is definitely like a real like hip hop joint. Like it don't really have no season to it. You could throw it on at any time. Like you know what I'm saying. Like riding around, chilling. So.
I agree. And it's almost like a contrast. Like I think his voice, like you would think a guy like Rock Lauren would be on like a grimy like soul type of thing. That's what sometimes people place them into, that use that sound like him. But I think your take on the sound and the beat was incredible, because it adds dimension and it makes it dynamic, and I thought it was a really great choice. Just in style, it was dope. The whole thing was dope. I was like, this is a dope record. They need to do more with advertising. I would help with that.
See, that's the thing.
Record. He was
Rock came through. He definitely came through for me, and we definitely about to do the video soon too. Like we definitely gonna do the video. I'm gonna catch up on the visuals and shit after Never Get Comfortable drops, because I just been in the studio night after night, just working and stuff like that. So, but Vital Signs definitely has a video coming through, and also too, I'm working with another artist by the name of Go-Go. He's originally from. He gonna kill me. He's from the Bronx. Yes, he's originally from the Bronx, but he's stationed out in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and he's a rapper, but he's more so a Afrobeat artist. So I have a Afrobeat single coming, like that I produced. Yeah, I know, right? Crazy.
That'll be.
Yeah.
Like
The joint is crazy. The song is called "Play with Fire." That's it. The song is called "Play with Fire."
And I want to talk about That's What She Say, because
the single
that's going up, like, which I knew.
You definitely because it was that and You Hear Me Now. I want to say it was those two. And I was like, what should I do? What should I release first? I was kind of going with That's What She Say, but you definitely solidified it. So thank you.
I thought as soon as I heard the record, I was like, yes, it's giving like 90s vibes,
and it's
like the beat is still on.
changing
Like,
the climate of what's going on right now. Like it's changing the climate. Like shit just like let's do something different. Like let me take you down on the ride real quick. Like let me talk to you real fast. Like let me, you know what I'm saying, let me talk to you real quick. So that's why like I said, once again, thank you for giving me the stamp to be that, like that'd be it. Cause I was gonna release it, but not at the time when I did. So it was all timing. So it was perfect timing. So the video is dropping next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. It's shot by my man E. Wide Shut Entertainment. Shot, you know what I'm saying? So he up in the joint. Yeah. And also too, he has an EP. He's an artist as well. And I'm in, and we're actually in, we're definitely working on his EP right now too. So we working on his EP too. So
that's there's a lot going on, and I'm like just so proud. I'm like sitting in the background listening to it all. Like I'm so grateful to have like found you, and then like now listening, because you have a lot of your music right now is going up, and you know your numbers are looking great, and like you're just keep pushing and keep coming out with stuff that I think is good. I want to talk to you a little bit about the underground scene a little bit. I always ask rising artists about the underground, because the reason why I started this podcast, like I said earlier, was to have, you know, meaningful conversations while also marketing their work to my own audience or any other audience that I can. But I always ask, like, you know, what does being underground mean to you? Like, what does it mean for an artist to be underground? Like, even specifically to you,
being in touch with
what
the
do you
people.
think that means for you?
That's it. Like just being in touch with the people, like serving a purpose though. Like, you know, giving something that like, you know, somebody could take off of your blueprint and so they can implement into theirs. So it's really just staying connected to the people, like really, like, cause music is music, like you know what I'm saying? Like only difference is it's who's behind it. The only difference. If you take away the machines, that the songs that we all love, just regular music, and it may be shit that we maybe really don't like. So
word, because there's a lot of push, there's a lot of marketing, like our choice to hear music
it's weighed off marketing,
is not by our choice.
So now like if you building with me, it's like you're really, now I get to see who really likes my music. Being in touch with the people, it goes back to that. So it's like people could like my music off of many things. They could like my music off of how I dress, how I perceive myself out in the community, how I, you know what I'm saying, how I'm as a person, like, or they knew me for years and they just support, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's all having nothing to do with flash. It's all organic. So just be staying in touch with people.
I love that answer, and it seems to be like a consistent theme with underground artists. Even, and what's so funny is like those were like the starting aspects of hip hop in the first place, right? Like connecting people. And so it's funny how like when things transition into more commercial and we see these big machines behind these people and it becomes less community. That's the reason why my podcast is called Suga and Friends. Like it's meant to, I'm Suga and we're friends.
It works.
Like, it's meant to create community and bring people together, right? And so I hear that a lot with underground artists, and that's why I love the underground or rising artists so much, is because of the genuineness and being so close, like the middle ground between like the people, the society, and life, and like this incredible art that you have and you're managing, and the transition in between is just it's so profound and it's so interesting. And that's why I love the underground the most. So I love that answer. Being underground to you means being connected to the people. You heard it here. That's what Pyro Lucain said. Another thing that I wanted to ask you is, I always ask about marketing to underground or rising artists, because I'm big in marketing, I'm big in advertising, and I want to know, like, what are your thoughts on marketing? Like, what are your thoughts on advertising?
Hell
Is it
yeah.
something that you had to get into as an artist?
Yeah, a lot of it is money.
Talk to you.
A lot of it is money in the right channels. Because you can have the money and put yourself in the wrong channels and get nothing from it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you just, and also too, like, now they're making it a little bit of a leg up because you could actually see your targeted audience. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could have your own analytics. You got your analytics. You can see your targeted artists. So now, right, with the marketing and promo, so now if you got a range of from 19 to 25, okay, figure out what the 19, 25 to 25-year-old like watching on far as on like Instagram, as far as like, you know, little platforms and things of that nature and stuff like that, and just hit those markets and just piggyback off that. Like once you have your target audience, you guys got to figure out where they are. So you just gotta find. You gotta now. Okay, now I have that target audience. Okay, what do the 19 and 25-year-olds like to watch on Instagram? Like, what do they like? Like, okay, they obviously like what I'm doing. So where do I need to be? Okay, I need to be over here. Okay, over here. Like.
Yeah, that's so true. And as a person who like has been in marketing for years at this point, and I'm even still learning, right? That's so true. You have to be there in the place where your audience is. And I tell artists that I work with all the time, if you want a legacy in this for real, if you want, it's not, and this kind of goes to our earlier conversation about doing it yourself. If you take guys like, I give this example all the time, like a Lupe Fiasco, for instance, who was once signed to a major label, Atlantic, but then it went to shit, and he had to go underground again to the independent world. Really like an independent artist, right? But he had a fan base, right? He had an audience, which he built even before he got signed to Atlantic, right? When he was having mixtape era and, you know, getting his record on the radio himself with his own label. And so, but he had an audience. And so he's able to tour off of albums that are 15 years old and still make money because he's tapped in and he's connected to his target audience, to his people who have quite actually grown old with him, right? Like, who have grown with him. And it's just so interesting. So you're so right about marketing and, you know, your audience. An audience is so important for an audience or for an artist to understand and really get a good grasp on. So
also giving them something that they want to be a part of. And that's for free. That's all of you as a person. So if you not cool outside of this rap shit or outside of this music shit, yeah, people gonna find out quick. Like, before all of this, like, before anybody knew I was doing any of this, like, I was cool, like, playing sports, like, fly, like, just regular. So when I started doing this, it was just like, oh, okay, like, this is new, like, this is different. So let's see how far he takes this. So having a personality outside of this helps you inside of here, because it actually helps you identify who's really real. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you can do all the marketing you want, but there's some things that money can't bring you. Like, yeah, it'll definitely get you in the eyes of me and you, but like there's other things that you gotta do to keep, like, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that money can do. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that money can do. Yes. I need some of it to keep, like, you know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, it's like, but for what I know, just offer genuine, like, just relationships, like, they don't give a damn how much money you got. If you're not a good person, and if you're not just a cool person outside of this, then we can't do no business with you.
And that's so true. And I feel like that, I'm one for upholding that, because I think, you know, the industry has a way of making people become something that they aren't or something that they're not. And so, especially when you're getting it out of the mud, right? Like, you feel like everything is over.
I had to get out of that.
See me. I want people to see that I'm on, but really, like, your focus should be being on a genuine person, making good ass music, and attending to your audience. Like, that is like, and the marketing sides of that, but that goes into attending to your audience. Like, that's really like the crucible of it all. Like, that's all you really need, and you'll be solid, you know, and then you can build on that. But that's so incredibly true. So we'll transition to our closeout. I want to know what you're working on. Like, I see we mentioned your board in the back. You have a lot on your to-do list. You don't have to give us all the details, but kind of put us on to where you are right now.
Right now, I'm in the mastering stages of Never Get Comfortable, March 22nd. I'm in the mastering stages, and I'm in a little bit in the final editing stages of That's What She Say, dropping next Wednesday, and I'm gonna drop a little clip this weekend. So stay in tune for that. And I have the Vital Signs video dropping coming soon. Play with Fire with Go-Go. That'll be my first Afrobeat single that I produce. Just a whole bunch of music, visuals. Yeah, so the latest thing is Never Get Comfortable, March 22nd.
Hey, so we got March 22nd. We got Never Get Comfortable coming out. Pyro Lucain. Also, before we go off, explain to me how you got Pyro Lucain.
Shouts out to my bro Bugatti 203. Okay, so my first name ever in this shit, as far as like when I really started to be like serious, it was A Beats, like an A and Beats. So I was like, nah, that shit was, it was cool at first for the time being, but I was like, nah. So, and then it traveled to Beats by Pyro. And then like 2015, 2016-ish, around the time my daughter was born, me and my bro Bugatti 203 was working on Last Don't Exist. We was working on that project. And he said on a song, he was like, cause you know, besides the music stuff, I get fly for real. So like there was a point in time where I was getting sneakers like 2-3 months before they came out, like a month, a week, you know, wilding, just spinning, wilding. Like what? You know what I'm saying? Just bugging. So in a rap, he said Pyro Lucain keeps the fire on the feet. Mind you, I was already in transition and about to change my name for the last time anyway. But I actually wanted to keep the Pyro, but I wanted to drop the beats because I didn't want to give away what I did. Because I could just stop making beats and just be a freaking engineer. Or I could I could take that name and do beat anything. So at first I hated it. I'm like, yo, why you keep calling me Lucain? Like I hated it. At first. But if anybody who knows Mortal Kombat, that was one of the main characters, and he kicked the shit out of people. But me, it was that was a specialty. But for me, it was because, you know, Gotti was like, nah, like bro, be having all the kicks before they come out, like, and he been having shit. So like Pyro Lucain gets fire in the feet, and I was like, from that point, Pyro Lucain has been my name. So thank you to my bro Bugatti 203. Definitely blessed me with that name, and it's been history ever since. So like 2015, right before my daughter was born. So both of us is born again.
That's
both of us is born.
What? That's so. That's so incredible. Tell me about, before we tell me, okay, so you mentioned sneakers. I want to know about like your interest in sneakers. If you still have an interest in sneakers, I want to know about, I think you have clothing line,
I have
right?
two of them too. One of them, but the main line is called Underground Icon. And the second line is called Not For The Algorithm. Not For The Algorithm is attached to my music. So anytime that I drop a project, Not For The Algorithm brand is going to be dropping the merch for the project. And also with like the regular streetwear, street fashion, street stuff like that is Underground Icon. So it's like two. They're together, but they're separate. They're doing the same thing, but they're in their own pocket. Nobody's touching one another.
Right. Oh, that's so incredible. That's so dope, and I like how it runs together with what you're doing. That's so incredible.
Oh yeah,
And the
for
sneakers,
sure,
you're
for
still into
sure. Like
sneakers?
I have a like my second. Oh yeah, so the second song that I'm about to drop is called "Ask About Me," and "Ask About Me."
Ooh.
Well, I'm gonna send it to you, but "Ask About Me" is basically is actually
Yeah.
taking you through a ride through my like days of being fly, like being young in school, like stuff like that, what the styles was back then, like what I'm saying. So like how like it's basically it's like an actual memoir of letting you know about me on what or how I was, and just letting you
Mm-hmm.
know how fly I was. And I'm just not one of these dudes that just getting money and now they want to act like they getting fly. Like nah, like Ben, that is
Been
nah.
fly.
So that's why, like,
Word.
if you notice, like, I have like a '90s type of, like a '90s type of new
Mm.
wave like baggy type of style, kind of, sort of, like, cause it's like I don't want to look like y'all.
Mm.
Like,
That's right. That's such an East Coast thing too. Not style or having to be fly, but just the idea of like into fashion, like into clothing, into sneakers.
yeah,
That's so funny. And dope. One
that.
last question, and I'm gonna ask you another question. So not one last question. Second to last question. Um, how do you take care of your mental health? Like, what do you do to take care of yourself?
I go to
Like self
therapy
care and stuff
now.
like that.
I go to therapy. Yeah, I
Yes.
go to So when my dad passed, like that's when I like really needed it, because when he passed, I didn't stop working on music. Like I just kept going. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't take no day off. Like I just kept going. Like what I'm saying. So that definitely ran its course to where it's like I were started what I mean, started going crazy. Like like just going through the emotions of losing a parent. So so I started therapy. During that I stopped, and then I just started back up a couple months ago. So
Wow, that's dope. I love that. I love to hear that. I always ask about mental health because in life, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to focus on self care as well. But especially in the music industry and especially with Black men, I always bring up mental health and self care because it's so important when you're an artist, just kind of like working hard and stuff. So I always bring that up. So I appreciate you mentioning that and opening up and
sure.
saying that for the podcast. One last question before we get off.
All right.
This is the real last question. Who are you listening to right now? I like to spread the wealth. I like to ask underground artists about other underground artists so that we can keep the chain moving. Because I want to hear them too, and I want anybody.
Oh, one of the.
There are a lot of people.
Oh, I get. Oh. Well, one of the guys that I definitely just got acquainted with not too long ago, his name is Benny from the North. He's from the Bronx. I definitely sent him a pack. Me and him about to have like a little run going on. So Benny from the North.
Mm-hmm.
Seymour Bucks from Cambridge, Maryland. That's my bro for real. Like me and him got joints. Me and him about to go on the run.
Oh wow! I'm in the DMV area.
So nah, but when you're like them two for real, you definitely gonna like because you like bars and all of that. Like you know what I'm saying. So they definitely gonna give you what you want. My bro SNS from Harlem. He just dropped a project not too long ago. Who else? Who else? Damn. It's a lot of us. It's a lot of us. All right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Bugatti 203. Like it's a lot of us. Like it's a whole lot of us who I listen to throughout my travels. But yeah, definitely like my guys, Benny from the North, Seymour Bucks, SNS. Oh, HG Locks from the Bronx. He actually just dropped something not too long ago. Me and him about to go on a run too. So yeah, pretty much all the guys who I produce for, like Honey Brand Royce,
Right.
like, you know what I'm saying? So like all the guys who I produce for, really, if I'm not bumping like my forefathers, like, you know, like the classic hip hop and shit like that, if I'm not bumping that, like I'm bumping, like, you know, I'm bumping my guys who I got songs with and who I don't got songs with and shit like that. So it's just a lot. It's a lot out here.
That's so dope. I really enjoyed your company tonight. I really enjoyed the research beforehand, and you know, I've been listening to your music ever since like we first, you know, got hooked on Twitter. But I really enjoyed the deep dive. I really enjoyed you know, explaining to me how your career came to be and how you're starting music and hip hop and you being a part of a tradition and a culture and then creating your own thing, and now you're Pyro Lucain and you're a producer and you're a rapper, and you're working on projects that are coming out.
Rapid fire. Yeah, rapid fire. They coming out quickly.
Yeah.
They coming out as fast as I'm making them. They coming out as fast as I'm making them.
I love that. So we're gonna all be on the lookout. My podcast tends to get a lot of playback too, so I'll be marketing the hell out of this. I'll be making clips and stuff. I'll write you know, a little review and stuff like that. So I really had a good time. I really enjoyed this talk. People came and goed, and I feel like it was great. And I feel like really you tell really great stories that are detailed. So you know, obviously we're gonna talk in the future, but everybody, if you don't know who this is Pyro Lucain. Please go and listen to his music. Check him out. Follow him on all platforms. Check him out. Get tapped into the underground. This is Suga and Friendz podcast with Alex Hill. Any last words you want to say?
Peace to the underground. Peace to all the gods and the earths. And peace to my team. Love y'all. Peace to everyone who supports what's going on. Definitely not gonna let y'all down. Never.
Hey, we on it. All right, Pyro Lucain. Thanks again on the podcast. All right, cool.